I'm Emma Thompson, 34, seated in my brightly lit Manchester office, poring over contracts for a multi-million-pound merger when my phone buzzes. A text from my father slices through the screen, cold and sharp as a blade. Don't come to the family reunion. We're cutting ties. 14 words, carving apart 20 years of conditional love. I stare at the message, my finger trembling over the keyboard, and type a single word. Understood. The client across from me has no clue that behind my polished smile, a bold decision has just taken root. I'm about to remove my name from my father's $1.5 million business loan, the final tether binding me to Thompson Properties. But before I dive into what unfolded next, drop a comment below sharing where you're reading from, and hit subscribe if you've ever had to stand up to family who undervalued you. Let me take you back to Kensington, London, where the glossy facade of the Thompson family hid deep, unspoken fractures. Growing up in Kensington, London's most prestigious neighbourhood should have been a dream. Our 4-story Georgian townhouse, with its polished brass fixtures and immaculate garden, graced the pages of architectural magazines. To the outside world, the Thompson family was the epitome of success. My father, Edward Thompson, built his commercial real estate empire from the ground up, while my mother, Margaret, orchestrated our social calendar with military precision, every event calculated to elevate our standing among London's elite. From my earliest memories, there were rules, not just household ones, but unspoken edicts about keeping up appearances. Emma, fix your posture, my mother would whisper at charity galas. Emma, your grades are excellent, but James has been accepted to the debate team, my father would say, somehow making my 4.0 GPA feel inadequate next to my brother's extracurriculars. James, 3 years my senior, was groomed from birth to inherit Thompson Properties. He had my father's confidence and my mother's social grace. I had neither. Too bookish, too serious, too preoccupied with fairness over advantage. That's not how the real world works. Emma, my father would retort whenever I questioned why things couldn't be more equitable. At 12, I won a national essay contest, and the local newspaper wanted an interview. My mother scheduled a hair appointment for that exact time. The Thompson family presents as a unit, she said, brushing my hair with strokes too firm to be tender. Your accomplishment reflects on all of us, and we must look appropriate. The reporter snapped a family photo with James front and centre, despite it being my achievement. When university applications came around, I set my sights on Oxford Law School. The London School of Economics would keep you closer to home, my father suggested, meaning closer to the family business. When Oxford accepted me with a partial scholarship, my parents' response was telling. We'll cover the rest, my father said. But we expect you to bring that education back to Thompson Properties. I didn't. I worked 3 campus jobs to cover my expenses during holidays. Family dinners turned into battlegrounds of passive-aggressive jabs. James closed the Henderson deal today, my father would announce, followed by, Emma, pass the potatoes. My academic achievements were mere footnotes in our conversations. After graduation, James slid effortlessly into his VP role at Thompson Properties, while I took a position at Hartley and Wells, a prestigious corporate law firm in Manchester. My parents attended my law school graduation, but left early for a networking event for James. Manchester is so far away. My mother complained when I shared my job offer. There are excellent firms in London. This is the opportunity I've worked for. I said, your brother is working for what really matters. Family. My father countered. The distance to Manchester gave me clarity. I built a life on my own terms. My apartment wasn't as grand as my childhood home, but it was mine. My colleagues respected me for my work, not my surname. For the first time, I could breathe. Then I met Daniel Harris at a charity fundraiser. He taught English at a public school and volunteered with first-generation university applicants. His laugh was genuine, his ambitions admirable, though modest by Thompson standards. We connected instantly. After 6 months of dating, I brought Daniel to London for Christmas. The disaster began the moment we arrived. A teacher? My mother repeated when Daniel excused himself to take a call from a worried student. Emma, you could have your pick of suitable partners. Why choose someone so limited? He's not limited. Mother? He's changing lives. At what salary? My father interjected. How will he contribute to your future? Not everything is about money, I argued. My father's laugh was dismissive. Says someone who's never had to worry about it. The irony that I'd been paying my own way since university was lost on him. Dinner was a parade of slights, with my parents steering conversation toward James and his new girlfriend, Sophie, daughter of British MP Sir William Hargreaves. They fawned over her family connections while asking Daniel which tube line he took to work. Later, in my childhood bedroom, Daniel held me as I cried. They'll never see me, I whispered. No matter what I achieve. Then it's their loss, he said simply. Because I see you. Emma, you're extraordinary. We left the next morning, a day early. My mother's parting words stung. Think about what you're doing with your life. Emma. James has already made partner at the firm and has a suitable relationship. You're not getting any younger, back in Manchester. I threw myself into work. Becoming senior associate faster than anyone in my firm's history felt exhilarating. But the victory rang hollow when I called my parents to share the news. That's nice, dear, my mother said. Did you hear James and Sophie are engaged? The wedding will be at Hargreaves Manor next summer. 3 years ago, my father called with a small favour. Thompson Properties was expanding, and they needed a $1.5 million loan for a new development. The banks want additional security. Your credit score is excellent, and as family, we need you to co-sign. Against my better judgment and Daniel's wary advice, I agreed. Family helps family, my father said, oblivious to the irony of his selective principle. Looking back, I realize it was the only time he ever praised my accomplishments, when my credit score served his interests. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago at a celebratory dinner. James and Sophie had announced they were expecting the first Thompson grandchild. My parents rented the rooftop restaurant at the Savoy Hotel, London, and Daniel and I flew in for the occasion. Emma. My mother air-kissed my cheeks. That dress is interesting. Didn't I send you the colour scheme? You didn't, I replied, feeling the familiar weight of disappointment settle in. Well, everyone else managed to coordinate, she said, gesturing to the sea of champagne and pale pink attire. Never mind. At least you're here. James was worried you'd be too busy with that case, the Willis merger. I'd mentioned it once, briefly. A £1 billion deal that could define my path to partnership. My mother had changed the subject in seconds. Dinner was a showcase for Sophie and James. The next generation of Thompsons will have quite the legacy, my father declared. Champagne flute raised. James has just become the youngest senior partner at Thompson Properties. The Hargreaves connection has brought 3 major clients. And now, a grandchild. Daniel squeezed my hand under the table, knowing how hard I'd worked for my own promotion, which my parents had acknowledged with the enthusiasm of a weather report. "Emma," Sophie said, her blonde hair gleaming under the chandeliers, "will you bring Daniel to the family reunion next month? Mother's arranged a feature in Country Life, 3 generations of London's elite." I blinked, confused. Family reunion. I haven't heard about it. Silence fell over the table. "Didn't we mention it?" my mother said with practiced nonchalance, her tell for discomfort. "It's at the Cotswolds estate, 4th of July weekend. 3 weeks from now?" "No, you didn't mention it." My father suddenly found his lobster fascinating. Later. I overheard my parents with James and Sophie in the hotel lobby while Daniel fetched our coats. We thought it best not to have Emma and her teacher at the reunion. My father said, "The Hargreaves are bringing a cabinet minister, and the Merrick son from Goldman Sachs is attending. It needs to be the right atmosphere." "But she's family," James said, surprising me. "Shouldn't she be there?" "Your sister has chosen a different path." My mother replied, "We support her. But this event is about family legacy. Emma's priorities are clear. Besides, we've told everyone she's too busy with work." I retreated into the shadows, a familiar ache blooming in my chest. Daniel found me staring at the London skyline. "Ready to go?" he asked gently. "They're ashamed of us," I said quietly. "They've lied about why I won't be at the reunion, an event they never invited me to." Daniel wrapped an arm around me. "Their shame has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with them. In Manchester, I buried myself in the Willis merger. 80-hour weeks dulled the sting of family drama. Then came the news. I'd secured the deal, landing the firm's biggest client of the year. My boss, Elizabeth, called me into her office. "Emma, this is exceptional work," she said, sliding a folder across her desk. "The partners have taken notice. You're on track for early partnership consideration." Joy surged. But when I reached for my phone to call my parents, I stopped. What was the point? They'd offer polite disinterest, then pivot to James's latest triumph or Sophie's pregnancy. Instead, I called Daniel. His genuine pride warmed me in a way my family never had. "Let's celebrate tonight," he insisted. "You've earned this." "Emma." Over dinner at our favorite restaurant. I reflected on a lifetime of chasing approval. "It's strange," I told Daniel as we shared dessert. "I've spent my entire life trying to earn their love, and I've never truly had it. Maybe it's time to stop trying," he said gently. "You're extraordinary, with or without their validation." The next morning, Clara, my cousin, posted about the Thompson family reunion on Instagram. Invitations had gone out weeks ago. Everyone got one except me. I was in a preparation meeting for the Willis contract signing when my father's text arrived. The Hartley and Wells conference room buzzed with senior partners and associates, my PowerPoint slide projecting revenue increases. My phone vibrated on the mahogany table. Normally, I'd never check it during such a critical meeting, but my father's name triggered an old reflex. Thompson family matters always came first. "Don't try coming to the family reunion. Your mother and I have decided it's best we cut ties for now." James agrees. "This is what's best for the family business and image." The words blurred as my face flushed. The room felt stifling. Elizabeth asked about third quarter projections, and I answered on autopilot. The projections show a 17% increase. Page 4 of your packets. My voice stayed steady, but inside, I was crumbling. Years of performing under my parents' scrutiny let me finish the presentation flawlessly, masking the emotional earthquake triggered by a text severing 34 years of family ties. After the meeting, Elizabeth lingered. Excellent work. Emma, the clients are impressed. Thank you. I managed. You seem pale. Are you all right? Just a headache. I lied. I'll take something for it. Alone. I reread my father's message. Its cold detachment cut deeper than any argument. Not even a phone call after 3 decades of being a Thompson. In the women's restroom, I locked myself in a stall and gave myself 3 minutes to break down. Silent tears streaked my makeup. Memories of my 5th birthday when my parents skipped my party for a business dinner. My secondary school graduation when they left for James's alumni event. My law school graduation where they stayed only for photos. At minute 4, I dried my eyes, fixed my makeup, and returned to my office. My finger hovered over my phone, drafting and deleting angry responses. How dare you dismiss me after everything I've done? Is this about family image or my refusal to follow your path? In the end, I sent one word. Understood. It felt fitting. Arguing would only affirm their hold over me. I called Daniel. They cut me off. I said, my voice eerily calm. Dad texted me during the meeting. Texted you? My God. Emma? It's clarifying. I said, surprised by my own conviction. No more ambiguity. No more begging for a seat at their table. I'm leaving school early. I'll meet you at home. No. Finish your day? I'm okay. But we need to talk about the loan. The $1.5 million loan I'd co-signed for Thompson Properties 3 years ago was my last legal tie to them. At lunch, I researched my options. As a co-signer, I bore significant risk for a business I didn't control. If they defaulted, my financial future would be at stake. Given their latest move, staying tied to it was reckless. I called Sarah Clark, my attorney. They've made regular payments. Sarah confirmed. But you're equally liable for the full amount. Given the situation, withdrawing is prudent. What's the process? We notify the lender you're removing your guarantee. Your father must pay off the loan, refinance, or provide new collateral. And if he refuses, he'll have little choice. But it'll disrupt Thompson Properties. I thought of my father's text, of 30 years of conditional love, of Daniel, who loved me without strings. Draft the paperwork, I said. I'll sign tomorrow. That evening. Daniel listened as I explained. Are you sure? He asked. It's a big step. They've already cut ties. I said, I'm just formalizing it. They might see it as retaliation. I see it as self-preservation. Why stay financially tied to people ashamed of me? Daniel nodded. I support you completely. That night, I slept better than I had in years. The decision lifted a weight I'd carried so long I'd forgotten it was there. I'd spent a lifetime trying to earn a place in a family that had already judged my worth. The next morning, I signed the papers in Sarah's office. The bank would notify Thompson Properties within 24 hours. Are you sure? Sarah asked as I held the pen. I thought of the text, the years of subtle rejections, the freedom awaiting my signature. I've never been more certain, I said, signing with resolve. The bank's conference room felt like the stage for a family divorce. Sarah had arranged a meeting with Charles Bennett, the loan officer for the Thompson Properties loan. His expression stayed neutral as I explained. Ms. Thompson, removing your guarantee is your right, he said, adjusting his tie. But it will trigger clauses requiring Thompson Properties to provide new collateral within 30 days or face accelerated repayment. I understand, I said, my voice steady. Any issues with payments so far? None, Charles said, checking the file. But your guarantee secured favorable terms. My client's decision is final. Sarah interjected. Please process the paperwork. As Charles left to make copies, I gazed at the Manchester skyline, Thompson Properties London headquarters. A gleaming tower with my family's name stood streets away, a place I'd never been invited to contribute to, despite my expertise. You're doing the right thing, Sarah said. Their financials are solid. Your father can use other assets as collateral. This won't ruin them, just inconvenience them. Why did he need me as a co-signer then? I asked. Your credit score got them better rates, Sarah said, then hesitated. And, based on the timing, I suspect he was overextended on other projects. Your guarantee hid certain liabilities from the bank. The truth stung. I wasn't needed as family, but as a financial tool. Charles returned with the documents. I read each clause carefully, my legal training kicking in. At the final page, I paused, recalling my father's office 3 years ago, his dismissive tone as he handed me the loan papers. Just a formality. Emma? Family helps family. Though, if you joined the company, this wouldn't be necessary. Even his plea came with criticism. I signed decisively and handed the papers back. The bank will process this immediately, Charles said. Thompson Properties will be notified by tomorrow. Thank you, I replied, standing. Sarah and I left together. In the lift, I felt lighter. Is it strange that this feels more final than my father's text? I asked. Not at all, Sarah said. You've reclaimed your power. That's huge. Back at my office, I dove into the Willis merger. Its demands a welcome distraction from anticipating my family's reaction. I worked late, finalizing contracts until midnight. Daniel texted at 10. Everything okay? Yes. Just working late. Home soon. Leaving the office. I paused on the pavement, Manchester's skyline sparkling against the night. For the first time, I was truly independent, professionally thriving, free from family obligations. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. At home, Daniel waited with a glass of wine. How are you feeling? He asked as I slipped off my heels. Lighter, I admitted, and a bit scared. They'll find out tomorrow. We'll handle it together, he said. I fell asleep in his arms, my dreams unburdened by family expectations for the first time. The bank's notification hit my father's desk at 9. London time. 8 in Manchester. I'd planned my morning to be in client meetings, avoiding the fallout. By 7:30 a.m., I was reviewing documents when James called. I sent it to voicemail. My mother called at 7:45, then my father. I silenced my phone and headed to my first meeting. By noon, I had 17 missed calls. By lunch, my phone was a war zone. 28 missed calls, 43 texts, 17 voicemails. My father, mother, James, and unknown numbers had been relentless since 9:17 am, when the bank notified Thompson Properties during my lunch break. I listened to the first voicemail. Emma. My father's voice seethed, controlled but furious. Call me immediately. What you've done is unacceptable. This kindizes everything we've built. My mother's. Emma? What were you thinking? Your father's beside himself. The bank demands collateral by month's end. Fix this now. James. Em? What the hell? Dad's going ballistic. Call me. An unfamiliar voice. Ms. Thompson. This is George Fletcher, accountant for Thompson Properties. Urgent financial matter. Please call back. I ate my salad, a strange calm settling in. For the first time, a Thompson crisis wasn't mine. I'd freed myself from their loan and their expectations. My assistant, Hannah, knocked. Emma, line 2. Your father's attorney. Says it's urgent. Take a message. I have a contract review in 15. He was insistent. I'm focused on our clients. I said, at 3. Laura, my colleague, stopped by. 2 people in reception. An older couple, agitated. My stomach sank. My parents. Shall I say you're in meetings? You are... No. Have security escort them out. They've no appointment, and I've nothing to say. Laura nodded. Got it. 20 minutes later. She returned. That was dramatic. Your father threatened to call the managing partner. Security blocked him from the lifts. Embarrassment flared, then anger. I'm sorry they put you in that position. Don't apologize. You're handling this like a boss. If you need anything... Thanks. Laura. By 5. My father had called William Hartley, the managing partner, who summoned me. Emma. Your father thinks you're avoiding him over a business matter. I am. I said. It's personal, not firm-related. He mentioned a loan, a personal decision affecting his business, not ours. He was insistent. I'm finalizing the Willis merger. That's my priority. William nodded. The merger is our focus. Your father said you'd be at the family reunion next weekend to discuss. I'm not attending, and he knows it. My tone's finality registered, and William nodded. Your work here is exemplary. Emma. That's what matters. As I left his office, James called again. I answered. What the hell? Emma? He demanded. Do you know what you've done? I removed my name from a loan I shouldn't have co-signed, after being told I'm not family. Dad didn't mean... He did. James. You agreed, per his text. Silence. I never said that. It's not just the reunion. It's 34 years of being an afterthought unless my credit score was useful. The bank wants $2 million in collateral by month's end, James said tightly. Dad's liquidating investments at a loss. That's Thompson Properties' problem. I'm out. This is vindictive. No. Vindictive would be reporting the loan's suspicious timing to the bank's fraud department. As Sarah noticed. I'm just protecting myself. Silence. Dad wants to meet? I've nothing to say. He'll be in Manchester tomorrow? The Midland? Noon? I'm working. Please. Hear him out. A face-to-face might offer closure. Fine. Noon. I've a 1 o'clock I won't miss. Thank you, James said, relieved. And Emma? I never agreed to cut you out. I hung up, unsure if I believed him. By day's end, I had 68 missed calls. My father's accountant called 12 times. 3 emails from the family attorney and a text from my mother. You've broken your father's heart. I gathered my things. Daniel texted he'd grab dinner. His steady presence anchored me through the chaos. As I left, Thompson Properties called again. I declined and stepped into the warm Manchester evening, leaving the family crisis behind until noon tomorrow. The Midlands lobby gleamed with old-world elegance, crystal chandeliers, marble columns, frescoed ceilings steeped in Manchester history. I arrived at noon in a charcoal grey power suit, pinstriped, with the pearl necklace Daniel gave me for our anniversary. My parents sat in the lobby lounge, my father checking his watch, my mother's posture slightly stooped. They looked smaller, less imposing than the towering figures of my childhood. "Hello," I said, approaching. My mother's society smile snapped into place. My father's face stayed impassive. "Emma, darling." She reached for my hand. I allowed brief contact before sitting. "I've 45 minutes. I've a client meeting at 1. My father's jaw tightened. This family emergency takes precedence. Not for me. "What do you want to discuss?" A waiter came. My father ordered coffee for himself, tea for my mother without asking her. I chose sparkling water. "You've put us in an impossible position," my father began. "The bank demands collateral we can't access now. We're selling assets at a loss." "That's unfortunate. But it's a business problem. You have properties for collateral. They're leveraged for other projects," he said, his voice rising before he glanced at nearby tables. "Emma, this is vindictive and childish." "Edward." My mother touched his arm. "Let's stay calm." She turned to me, her tone softening, the one she used for tricky charity donors. "Emma, we know your father's message hurt you. It was poorly worded, sent in frustration. We don't want to cut ties." "Really?" I kept my voice even. "Don't try coming to the reunion. We're cutting ties. James agrees." "Seems clear." My mother glanced at my father. "That's not—" "It was direct," he interrupted. "Your lifestyle and career don't align with the Thompson image we're cultivating." "Edward," my mother said, shocked. "It's time for honesty." "Margaret," he said. "Emma's never fit the mold. Her relationship with that teacher, her corporate law obsession over the family business, her constant questioning. It's a distraction we can't afford with the Hargreaves connection and a cabinet minister's interest." His bluntness was oddly refreshing after years of veiled jabs. "So I'm bad for the brand. That's been clear. Why the loan then, if I'm such a liability?" My father flinched. "Your credit score got us better terms, which you're losing because you cut me out via text. We could have discussed it gradually if you hadn't acted impulsively," he countered. "Impulsively." I laughed bitterly. "I've spent 34 years chasing your approval. This wasn't impulsive." "Emma, we love you," my mother said. "We've always supported you." "Have you? When you skipped my awards ceremony at 12? Left my law school graduation for James's alumni event? Dismissed Daniel as just a teacher? Lied about why I wasn't invited to the reunion?" My mother flinched. My father's face hardened. "We gave you every advantage. Schools, connections, opportunities," he said coldly. "You gave me things, not love, acceptance, or respect." I corrected. The waiter brought our drinks. We sat in tense silence. "What will it take to reinstate the loan guarantee?" my father asked. Businesslike. "It's not happening. I'm done with Thompson Properties." His face reddened. "You'd jeopardize our legacy out of spite." "No, out of self-preservation. Thompson Properties is sound. Sarah confirmed it. This is an inconvenience, not a disaster." "Sarah?" My father's eyebrows shot up. "You shared our business with an outside attorney?" "My attorney, who noticed the loan's timing aligned with undisclosed financial commitments." My father paled. My mother looked confused. Edward! What's she talking about? Before he could answer, James arrived, harried. Sorry. Traffic from the airport was brutal. James? My mother said, surprised. You didn't mention he was coming. She told my father. He invited himself. I realized, turning to him. Why are you here? James? This has gone too far. Family fracturing over lies, James said, sitting beside me. Emma? Dad didn't consult me about cutting you out. I learned when Mother mentioned your text at dinner. Don't be dramatic. My father said. We discussed the reunion's focus on legacy and the Hargreaves. You never mentioned uninviting Emma. James corrected. It was implied. No, it wasn't. James faced me. I'd never have agreed. You have to know that. His distress seemed genuine. Then why no call after you found out? I was caught in damage control with investors. By the time I processed it, you'd removed your name. Speaking of which, my father cut in, reinstate the guarantee. Emma. And we'll discuss family later. James shook his head. I'm here for truth. Dad. Emma deserves it. James. My father warned. James pressed on. Emma. The loan wasn't just for better terms. 3 years ago, Thompson Properties was overextended. The Riverside project had cost overruns, permit issues, environmental problems. The banks were nervous. Dad needed your guarantee to avoid bankruptcy. My mother gasped. Edward, is this true? My father's face reddened. Business has ups and downs. I handled it. By using Emma, James said. You've sidelined her unless she was useful. I sat stunned. So the company was in trouble when I co-signed. Temporary cash flow. My father dismissed. Serious enough to risk bankruptcy. I pressed. I'd have told you if you'd shown interest in the business. He exploded. Instead, you built your separate life, judged our values, brought home inappropriate partners. Edward? My mother said, horrified. Dad. Stop, James said. You only value Emma when she's useful. My father stood. I don't have to listen to this. Emma, reinstate the guarantee or face legal consequences. James, we'll discuss your betrayal in London. Sit down. Dad, James said. There's more. My father hesitated. What more? I asked. James took a breath. I had our financial officer review the paperwork. Emma, your signatures on 2 other loans. Equipment financing from 2020, a line of credit from 2021. Impossible, I said. I never signed those. James slid documents across. The signatures looked like mine, but weren't. You forged them, I said to my father. He wouldn't meet my eyes. My mother paled. Edward, tell me you didn't. It was necessary for the business, he said stiffly. Temporary, during COVID. All paid on time. It's criminal fraud, I said, my legal mind racing. Which is why removing your name was right. James said. I've spoken to our attorneys to resolve the other loans quietly. My father glared. You went behind my back. I did what was right. James said. Something I should have done for Emma years ago. I studied James. Why now? I've been complicit in how you've been treated, he said. I accepted the favoritism because it suited me. Sophie's pregnancy made me rethink the legacy I want for my child, not this manipulation. He paused. And I miss my sister. For the first time in years, I felt a connection. I missed you too. My phone chimed. 15 minutes to my meeting. What will you do? James asked. About the loan? Nothing? About the forgeries? Sarah will review them? About family? I'm not sure. James nodded. That's fair. As I left, I felt light. The confrontation clarified everything. The Thompson family and business were built on facades I was glad to step away from. 3 months later, I stood on my Manchester apartment's balcony, the sunset painting the skyline gold and pink. The ring on my finger sparkled, a promise from Daniel, who showed me love meant unconditional acceptance. I was no longer the Emma craving family approval, but Emma Thompson, lawyer on the cusp of partnership, author of my own story. My father's silence was a gift, a space for my freedom. My mother sent flowers for my engagement, offering to attend the wedding if I wished. James became the brother I'd longed for. As the city glowed, I wondered, have you ever walked away from the familiar to find yourself? Did you learn, as I did, that the hardest choices unlock the greatest freedom? Share your story in the comments. If this journey resonates, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to know standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. Thank you for joining me. And remember, your worth isn't defined by those who can't see it, but by the courage you find to honor it.